Hey YouTubers, Shy Cubs fan 14 here, bringing you some gameplay in Team Deathmatch on the Interchange map. I had a pretty decent game, going 20-5 and getting a Juggernaut, but that's not what I want to talk about today. While I was looking through the news, I saw a story that announced that the Smithsonian American Art Museum, our National Museum, has an exhibit called The Art of Video Games. 30 to 40 years ago, when arcade and console games were primitive, parents condemned them as a threat to their children's schooling. Being an old guy myself, I know all about this. I can vividly remember in the late 70s when my friends and I would spend countless hours in front of a pinball machine seeing how long we could play on one quarter. Yep, that's right, one quarter. And I remember that pinball game being Captain Fantastic by Elton John. Then in the early 80s, the arcade scene exploded and me and my friends began going to the malls, and we took part in all the new video games that were there. It was a way to socialize with our friends. We'd go to the arcade before we went to the movies, try to pick up some girls if we got lucky, and generally had a good time. And some of those games were Centipede and Asteroid and console games like that in the primitive stage. Then I remember in the early 80s, while I was in the Marine Corps, I had to ration out my paychecks with my newly found job because I found myself in the various places at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, putting money into video games and paying special attention not to blow all my money so I could still afford toothpaste and soap and the military items that I needed. And I remember one game, it was called Dirk the Daring or Dirk something. It was about a dragon character, a knight, and he had to make decisions throughout the game, and every one of your decisions would take you further through. I also remember during that time that another game that I really enjoyed was Joust, where the birds flew and the guys had the lances and they would fly and joust with each other. But that's what this is all about. You fast forward to 2012, and many parents are still trying to limit their kids' gaming hours. I know as a parent that I do that with my stepson. But the games themselves have evolved, and they're ambitious, they're interactive, and artistically complex. Thus, this celebration at the Smithsonian Museum. The exhibit covers about 40 years of video games. It features interactive displays that people can actually participate in. It also features gaming memorabilia and visual displays to highlight the artistic work done by the developers over the years. It's the first such exhibit to appear at a major museum, and it has been a huge hit. The opening last month drew about 23,000 people, and that number placed it in the top 5 for highest visitations in a month at the Smithsonian. So as you can see, it's doing rather well. The exhibit displays games people have grown up with. In a way, it also tells the story of their lives, much like I just shared with you. People will see a game and remember where they were and what they were doing. And I think that's true for everybody, be it a game, a song, a sporting event. It just sticks with you and you remember. And I think that people are getting that nostalgia from this exhibit. I know that in the articles that I was reading about this, one of the visitors commented that it was a neat way to watch the evolution of the games that were there when she was growing up, and that she first started playing video games on Atari system, and it was the game Frogger. Another lady commented that the first gaming system in her home was a Nintendo, and it was bought when her child was just 6 months old. She said that the old games have an artistic feel to them compared to the recent games that she's seen. But in any event, it brings back memories of herself and her children as they were growing up. The exhibit includes 5 playable games from classic Pac-Man to the 2009 Flower, which is where you blow the flower petal and it branches off. And one of the major pieces in the display is 20 different video game consoles throughout the years. And that ranges from the Atari 2600 all the way up to the current PlayStation 3. But what is really cool is that each display features 4 games that were voted in by the fans over the whole world as being the best representative of that console. Speaking about nostalgia, this is true of my life. I remember getting my very first Atari as a Christmas present from my brother, and we played Pong all day and night on Christmas. And it made me probably one of the most liked kids on the block because everybody wanted to come and play. My first console system was a Sega Dreamcast, and I fell in love with Hedgehog. As I got older, I graduated to an Xbox, obviously, and then with a wife who is a gaming nerd that I love very deeply, I was introduced to the new Nintendo Cube and Zelda. I then went through my have to have it all phase, and I got an Xbox 360 and a PS2. Ultimately, the Xbox won out, and I gave my PS2 to some of my nephews. With my stepson's growth and birth of my own children, the Wii was introduced to our home, and I am now the proud owner of an Xbox Slim model with the Kinect system. But this exhibit causes some debate amongst people. Most of the gaming developers who were contacted by CNN were excited about being recognized for their contributions and their hard work. Amy Hennig, the creative director for Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, commented, "Of course they are art. It's just another medium." She went on to say that to see such mainstream recognition is a huge cultural event and hugely gratifying. But other people don't share the same opinion. The exhibit being in the Smithsonian doesn't sit well with Irrational Games creative director Ken Levine. He commented that he couldn't care less, that it was nice to see, but it didn't mean anything to him personally. He went on to say that there is probably more conversation about games than there was about 500 years of landscape painting. So he has a totally different view. Some people, though, do agree that art is not complete, though, until it's experienced by someone, that every person reacts to artwork differently. That's what makes it so beautiful. The art exhibit, The Art of Video Games, is going to run through September 30th at the Smithsonian. So if you get a chance and you're on the East Coast or the right coast, get a chance, go on and check it out. But I think that the story is interesting because it shows that our community is gaining momentum and that it's being exposed at a national level, and not just for sales, but for the people that are going into graphic arts and design and making things happen. I want to thank you guys for visiting my channel and checking this out. I have a couple of projects in the works. I'm going to try to get them out pretty soon. Likes and comments are always welcomed. And if you're feeling impulsive or crazy, subscriptions send me over the moon. So I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to post some stuff up, and there I am at the end getting killed in that Juggernaut suit. So have a good one. Thanks a lot for stopping by.